13 IQ points can vanish under money stress, and that costs real dollars. If you live on a tight paycheck and feel stuck, this is one reason nights get expensive. Why does the glowing takeout app win at 7 p.m.? And how do you stop paying for that with next week's money? In a famous 2013 study, financial pressure cut cognitive performance by about 13 IQ points, roughly the hit of losing a night of sleep. That means some bad money choices are really exhausted brain choices, especially for low and middle-income people making high-stakes decisions all day. And the part most people miss is that this damage is predictable, which means it can be designed around. This is Wealth Mentor Pro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. If stress is charging you an exhaustion tax every day, how much of your paycheck is quietly disappearing before the month even starts? If you have ever thought, why am I smart in the morning and expensive at night? That is the real question here. Stay with me because I will show you what is happening in your brain, why typical discipline advice misses the point, and 3 rules that protect your money when your energy is low. Here is the core idea in plain English. Poverty and chronic stress drain mental energy, and drained mental energy creates costly decisions. Not because people are lazy, not because they are unintelligent, because the brain under stress is doing survival math all day. This is decision fatigue, and stress makes it worse. I have made that exact $27 dinner decision. When the decision battery is low, the brain pays for relief first and value second. If this clicks for you, a quiet like helps the right people find it. A lot of videos on discipline skip this part. They judge the last purchase and ignore the 100 decisions that came before it. But your brain does not experience a $19 food delivery, a $35 late fee, and a missed savings transfer as separate stories. It experiences them as one long day. By the time dinner arrives, the receipt in your mind already has hidden charges on it. A delayed train may cost 40 extra minutes. A school message may cost another decision about tomorrow. A low balance alert may cost 20 minutes of mental rehearsal. None of those show up on the food app receipt, but they shape the click. Think of a game where every move costs coins. If income is stable and the fridge is full, dinner costs 1 coin, cook, reheat, or order. But if money is tight, the same dinner can cost 10 coins. Is there enough food? Will the gas bill clear? Can the groceries stretch to Friday? Will cooking mean more dishes, more time, more cleanup, more noise, more decisions? That is the convenience trap. We buy groceries for the ideal self on Saturday, then the tired self shows up on Wednesday and chooses whatever reduces effort fastest. The app says convenience, the receipt says plot twist. Notice what happened. The expensive choice often arrives after a dozen invisible choices. The commute was late. A child needed something for school. The bank balance was lower than expected. A message from a lender arrived. By 7 p.m., the brain is not asking, what is the cheapest dinner? It is asking, what ends this day? That question matters because relief purchases are usually high cost and low lasting. A $24 delivery meal might solve 1 hour. A $70 week of repeated convenience meals can erase the money that was supposed to start a small emergency buffer. And that buffer is not a luxury. It is the first shield between you and high-cost debt. This is where the wealth-building lens matters. Net worth means what you own minus what you owe. When stress keeps pushing us toward convenience spending and away from small savings, net worth shrinks in 2 directions at once: less cash saved and more debt carried. Do one thing today. Choose one tired meal for this week and make it frictionless. Not healthy, not perfect, frictionless. That could be rice and eggs, frozen vegetables and noodles, or sandwiches you can assemble in 4 minutes. The goal is not nutrition theater. The goal is to make the low-cost option easier than the tap on the app. A simple comparison shows why this matters. 4 $6 tired meals from your kitchen is about $24. 4 $24 deliveries is about $96 before tips and fees. That $72 gap in 1 week is $288 in a month, which can cover a utility bill, a minimum payment, or the first layer of an emergency buffer. Willpower at 9 p.m. is a part-time employee. And if this sounds small, good. Small is the point. People under stress do not need a heroic meal plan. They need one decision removed before the hard hour arrives. Because the cost of ignoring this trap is not just extra food spending. It is the chain reaction, overdraft risk, credit card carryover, and the feeling that money always disappears. Now, the second trap gets even more expensive because it does not look like spending at all. Stress narrows attention like a game screen zooming into the enemy in front of you. That helps in emergencies. It is terrible for monthly money. At 11 p.m., the urgent bill can feel like the whole map. The due date that is 21 days away feels theoretical, even when the penalty is predictable. This is not because the future stops mattering. It is because the present starts shouting. This is tunnel vision. When rent is due in 3 days, the brain locks onto rent. That focus can feel responsible, and sometimes it is. But high stress makes the immediate bill look like the only bill, so long-term costs become invisible until they arrive with penalties attached. A common example is the car. If money is tight, a small maintenance issue gets delayed because rent is louder. Then the issue grows. A $60 oil change and a $120 tire alignment turn into a $900 repair at the worst possible time. The person did not choose badly in a simple way. They were triaging under pressure. The same pattern shows up with utilities, subscriptions, and minimum payments. We pay the loudest thing. We postpone the quiet thing. Then the quiet thing becomes loud plus fees. Late fees are basically a subscription nobody remembers buying. Think about a tight week with $300 left. Rent needs $250 by Friday. Phone bill is $45 due next Tuesday. Credit card minimum is $35 due Thursday. The brain locks onto the $250 because eviction risk is massive. Then Tuesday and Thursday arrive, 2 fees land, and the month gets tighter than this one. The math changed because stress changed attention. Manny and colleagues did not prove poor people lack intelligence. They showed that scarcity itself consumes cognitive bandwidth. In their work, even thinking about expensive repairs reduced performance in ways that mattered, and farmers performed worse before harvest than after harvest when money pressure eased. When the stakes of every choice go up, the mind has less room left for planning, comparing, and future thinking. That is why tunnel vision is so common in financial stress. It is not a character defect. It is a load problem. And this is where typical advice often misses again. Just think long-term sounds reasonable from a calm nervous system. It sounds very different when the account balance has 3 digits and payday is 5 days away. Do one thing today. Set one auto reminder for a quiet cost you usually forget. Pick one: tire pressure, medication refill, insurance renewal, minimum payment date, anything. The goal is not becoming a productivity machine. The goal is to stop future costs from sneaking up while the brain is busy surviving the present. The stakes here are bigger than a fee. Tunnel vision blocks wealth building because it keeps cash flow in repair mode. Money that could build a $500 buffer, pay down high-interest debt, or slowly buy diversified long-term investments gets pulled into preventable emergencies instead. Stress turns the brain into a very expensive emergency mode. And there is a third trap that feels unfair because it often happens right after you were being good. Picture a game round where you survive 3 hard levels, then spend your last coins in the lobby. That is the "I deserve this" paradox. After a day of restraint, stress, and small humiliations, spending can feel like medicine. Not luxury, medicine. A snack, a small online order, a ride instead of the bus, one more streaming subscription, a bigger dinner, a random treat added to the cart. The amount may look harmless. The pattern is not. This is dopamine seeking, and under stress, it makes sense. The brain looks for fast relief. The problem is not that relief is wrong. The problem is the market is full of expensive relief sold in one-click form, and the amounts often hide by spreading out. A $9 add-on here, a $14 upgrade there, a $22 treat on payday, then a $6 delivery fee because cooking feels impossible. No single line item looks like a crisis. Put together, they quietly compete with savings, debt payoff, and repair money. Here is the twist inside the twist. People often shame themselves after these purchases, which adds more stress, which increases the urge for relief later. So the same cycle repeats with more guilt and less cash. Our tired self has excellent timing and terrible priorities. We can see this in a simple month. Two deserved $18 purchases each week feels small in the moment. That is about $144 a month. In a year, that is $1,728 before interest if it rides a card. For many people, that amount is the difference between staying stuck and building the first real emergency fund. That number matters because the goal of this channel is not perfection. It is slow, safe net worth growth. A stronger buffer reduces panic. Less panic reduces expensive decisions. Fewer expensive decisions create more room to pay off debt and own more assets over time. The sequence is boring. It works. Do one thing today. Create a tiny relief line in your budget, even if it starts at $10. This is not surrender. This is design. If you plan a small relief spend, you reduce the chance of an unplanned larger one. Budgeting for human behavior is smarter than budgeting for a robot, and if a budget has never felt realistic, that may be because it was written for your ideal week, not your actual nervous system. The shift is simpler than it sounds. We do not fix the person first, we fix the environment. Before the three switches, answer this in the comments with one word: food, bills, or shopping. Which one drains your decision energy fastest? Here is the midpoint truth, and it is the same core idea from the opening in a different form. Stress lowers cognitive function. Lower cognitive function raises expensive defaults, and expensive defaults slow wealth building. Because once we stop calling this laziness, the solution gets clearer. The goal is not more guilt and more willpower. The goal is money calm, fewer high-stakes decisions made earlier with lower friction, so your future self has something left to build with. Rule 1. Make no financial decisions after 6 p.m. This protects your money when your cognitive load is highest. It turns the most expensive hours of the day into a no-trading zone for your wallet. A concrete example: no new subscriptions, no online shopping carts, no loan decisions, and no, I will just move money around after 6 p.m. on weekdays. If a bill problem appears at 8:30 p.m., write it down and review it at 9 a.m. If you want to buy something at night, put it on a 24-hour list. If the purchase is still useful tomorrow, you can make it with a clearer brain. This single rule can cut impulse spending without asking you to become a different person. If your schedule is unusual, adjust the clock, not the principle. A night shift worker might use no financial decisions within 2 hours of sleep instead of 6 p.m. The point is to protect the depleted window wherever it lands in your day. It also lowers conflict at home. Fewer night decisions means fewer tired arguments about money, and calmer money conversations protect more than peace. They protect consistency, which is what actually raises savings rates over time. The second switch is about removing the highest stakes decisions before they even appear. Rule 2. Automate bills and transfers on payday before your tired self can spend the money. Automation is not about being good with money. It is about reducing decision count and protecting essentials. When rent, utilities, minimum debt payments, and a small savings transfer move automatically, the month becomes less fragile. A simple setup can work even on modest income. Payday hits. Within 24 hours, rent is scheduled, utilities are covered, minimum payments are set, and $20 or $50 moves to an emergency buffer account. What remains is what you can actually spend instead of what only looked available at 7 p.m. This can take 15 minutes once, then save hours of decision stress later. Set calendar alerts for the first month while the automation settles. Check that each payment clears on the right date. Then the system starts carrying weight that your memory used to carry alone. That is not laziness. That is intelligent load sharing. This is how systems increase financial stability. They do not raise income by themselves, but they reduce leaks, penalties, and timing mistakes. Over months, that matters. One practical tweak helps a lot. Use separate accounts or clear labels when possible. Essentials, buffer, and spending money should not look identical in one pile. When every dollar sits in one account, tired spending mistakes are easier. When categories are visible, the next decision is simpler. If income is irregular, use percentages instead of fixed amounts. For example, 60% to fixed bills, 10% to debt cleanup, 5% to buffer, and the rest to variable spending and essentials, adjusted to your reality. The exact numbers are personal. The principle is not. Decide early, automate early, protect the floor. And yes, start small. A $25 automatic transfer still counts. It is not too small if it prevents a $200 emergency from going on a credit card later. Small buffers are quiet, but they do serious work. The third switch sounds almost too soft, which is why people skip it and stay trapped. Rule 3. Budget for fatigue on purpose. If you know Thursday is your hardest day, plan a takeout meal on Thursday. Put the dollar amount in the budget before the week starts and make it a decision you already made. For example, set $15 or $25 once a week for convenience food, or a small planned relief purchase that does not break your essentials. Now, when the tired hour comes, you are not failing. You are following the plan. That removes shame, and removing shame lowers the chance of a second, bigger stress purchase. This rule works because the brain under stress still wants relief. Fighting that reality every week is exhausting. Designing for it is cheaper. The goal is not to eliminate comfort. The goal is to stop buying comfort with tomorrow's rent money. You can also build a fatigue menu with price limits. Maybe relief under $10 is automatic, $10 to $30 must be planned, and anything above $30 waits until the next morning. That is not punishment. It is a calm pricing rule for a tired brain. This also improves long-term investing behavior, even if you are only beginning. Diversified, low-cost, long-horizon investing requires consistency more than intensity. Consistency is easier when your weekly plan already includes human limits. Instead of pretending every week will feel calm and disciplined. The hardest part for many people is not math, it is identity. Some part of us still believes that if we really cared, we would simply be stronger. But strength under chronic stress often looks like building guardrails, not making heroic choices in a depleted state. So here is the reframe that resolves the 7 p.m. question. The expensive decision is often not a laziness problem. It is stress plus high stakes plus too many choices made late. Change one piece of that equation and the result changes. Lower the stakes with a buffer. Lower the choices with automation. Move the timing earlier than the tired hour. Now the glowing app is no longer fighting an empty brain and an empty plan. It is just one option. The overlooked payoff is emotional, but it becomes financial fast. When people stop shaming themselves for stress responses, they can finally see patterns clearly. And once a pattern is visible, it can be priced, planned, and reduced. That visibility creates better protection too. You catch the weeks when stress is higher, tighten spending earlier, and protect essentials before a crisis grows. Risk management sounds formal, but sometimes it is just noticing your own pattern 2 days sooner. That is how net worth grows in real life, not in one dramatic month. In dozens of quieter months where fewer dollars leak into fees, emergencies, and impulse relief, and more dollars stay available for buffers, debt reduction, and eventually assets. Maybe that starts with one frozen meal and a 6 p.m. cutoff. Maybe it starts with a $20 transfer on payday. Maybe it starts with one planned takeout night so Friday stops wrecking Saturday. The method can be small. The effect compounds. The app says urgent. Your system can say tomorrow. If this gave you language for something you have felt for years, keep it and use it. On Wealth Mentor Pro, we build freedom slowly, safely, and on purpose. And the next time 7 p.m. hits and the kitchen light is on but your brain is done, remember this. The goal is not to be tougher at night. It is to make fewer money decisions before night arrives. If you enjoyed this, like the video and subscribe for more calm, practical money lessons. Then watch the suggested video and keep building your system while your mind is clear.